Hello ladies and gentlemen, and today I'll be doing a Sweden campaign in the game Democracy Free. Now the reason I'm doing a Sweden campaign right now is because a couple days from the day of recording, on September the 9th, 2018, uh, there will be a Swedish general election for the 349 seats of the Riksdag, which I believe is kind of like the parliament of Sweden. It's elected proportionally, unlike some other countries, and currently there seems to be three major parties. There's the main left party, which has about a quarter of the vote. There's the moderate party, which is kind of like the mainline conservative party, as conservative as you can get with, Sweden, with 17.5%. And then you have the Swedish Democrats with 19.4%, which are kind of like the nationalist party that you see popping up all over Europe. And obviously, if you're Swedish, if you can vote, Sweden does this much better than many other countries. But you're Swedish, you can vote. Please do, because you do have the right to vote, something that a lot of countries do not. All right, so without further ado, let's begin. So we're gonna play Sweden. Uh, National Unity Party against the Green Party. Yeah, that'll be fine. So as you can see here, the term limit is there is no limit. And the reason for that is, well, it works off of kind of like the prime minister system. So if you're familiar with kind of like the British system, basically the non-US systems, they use kind of like a system of parliament. So as long as you have a parliamentary majority, or I guess a Riksdag majority in this case, you can basically do your job forever. But we're going to cut that down to 2. And the term limit is 4 years, so because they have elections every 4 years. Okay. And we're going to leave everything else the same. Start. Welcome to your new job as Prime Minister. The lives of all 9.6 million citizens are now in your hands. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we have terrible GDP. Our health is, decent. Great education. Our unemployment, not that great. We have low crime. And we have, fairly good poverty. And also, just as an indicator as to where things are going to go, I'm probably going to enact policies that are way out of league for Sweden, because of just my personal politics, which I'll be playing this with the intention of. Oh yeah, and also, when it mentions liberal here, this is not the American definition of liberal. This is more kind of, I guess you could almost say, it's the European definition of liberal. So it's kind of libertarianism in that they don't like really state government control, as you can see over there to the left. They're not exactly big fans of meddling by the government in general. And, the liberals make up 92% of the population. So, if I don't want to get assassinated, those are the people I kind of have to go for. And there you go, you have a fantastic portrait. Okay, so country, lots of socialists, about 74%. The capitalists don't like us, but there are not many of them. It's only a quarter. Lots of commuters, trade unionists. So, your traditional leftist country, I guess. Not a lot of state employees, though, but lots of ethnic minorities. And yeah, this looks actually much better than I expected it to look. This is based off of a mod that was made back in, I believe, 2016, so that's probably why. Today, you probably see things like race riots, intercity, etc. Okay, so let's have a look at the issues we have. We have the corporate exodus. Not exactly a surprise. I mean, we're pretty far from the stop trigger. Okay. We have sexism in our country. Okay. Which is being propped up primarily by unemployment, but this isn't really having that big of an effect. We have uncompetitive economy, which isn't great because that kills our GDP, and the GDP basically affects everything because, you know, it's the economy, stupid. Uh, Makes the capitalists don't like us. Productivity, our productivity is average. I mean, it's not that, but then again, it's also not that. So, we'll see what we can do. We have foreign subversion. Insert your edgy joke here, which mm, doesn't really affect you. I mean, there's a strong leader modifier for elections, but other than that, there's not too much. It does affect civil rights protests, which is another issue that we're going to have to deal with, which does affect a lot because of violent crime. And also traffic congestion, which itself isn't that great. And so if you're not familiar with kind of like whoops, if you're not familiar with kind of like the system that they use in democracy free, it's that green is not necessarily good, red is not necessarily bad. Um, in this case, it is because you want to be seen as a strong leader, but green just means it's going up. So when there's a green bar on violent crime, that doesn't mean it's good. It means it's increasing by 11.32%, which is decisively not good. And the same thing with crime here, which is it's increasing by 21.32%. You know, not great. So green just means up, red means down. It does not make any implications on whether it is good or not. Alright, so without further ado, let's actually get started. And also, you'll notice, actually, now that I say that, before, you'll notice that the poor, middle income, and wealthy, do not have their bars filled. This is because of the mod. By the time I click next turn, they will fill up. So, we have a lot of socialists, they kind of like us. We don't have a lot of capitalists, but they also hate our guts. I mean, they're fanatically opposed. I don't blame them. We have some retired commuters, not very patriotic. Fair amount of motorists, a lot of liberals, which is going to be a problem if we're going to try and tackle crime because, as I said a little while ago, liberal just means kind of libertarianism. So they don't want government control, but you do need some government measures in order to stop crime. And since there's such a large voting bloc, that's going to be a bit tricky, especially since crime crime affects a lot of things. If we can have a look at just crime, I mean, look at that. You know, it kills tourism, it kills the GDP, props up foreign subversion. I mean, it's just genuinely, I mean, it's crime. Of course it ain't great. We have some religious, they hate us. A fair amount of trade unionists, they're going to like us. That's not going to stay. Uh, Small amount of self-employed, not a surprise because again, corporate exodus. But you know, they don't hate us completely. Lots of environmentalists love us, but there aren't too many of them. Skipping those, and then we have the parents. You know, eh. Farmers stay employees. I'm actually surprised this number's not higher. Who actually do kind of like us. The conservatives are tiny, but that's because their membership is being just suppressed by all of this. Uh, and the conservatives are they're more social conservatives, I guess. They're not conservatives in the American sense of the word, in that they're right wing. They're more European, big government, protects all, etc. Youth, I mean, self-explanatory. Ethnic minorities don't really like us, but they are like, what, 30% of the population? Oh boy. And everyone is just a blanket modifier, because there's some things that they just don't like. So, for example, nobody likes crime, which appears to be one of our big issues. If we continue onwards, we have a rail strike, probably caused by our labor laws. Yep, caused by our labor laws. We have, as we saw before, organized crime. We have alcohol abuse. We have civil rights protests. We have a doctor strike. So basically, the entire country is striking. Everybody's leaving because the economy is shit. Okay. Good things. We have local government. So a lot of the government, it's done from the bottom up rather than from the top down, which is a good thing in that it does do things like improve the environment, increases things like bus usage, which affects things like traffic congestion, etc. Which also goes back to the environment because of pollution. Makes poverty go down. So this is just a good thing, except for its productivity impact and its private housing impact, and that's caused by community policing and education. Okay, we're actually we're actually currently running a surplus of 15.11 billion, but we do have a debt of 1400 billion, and our income is only our gross income is only 300 billion, which means that even if I cut down the expenditure completely, like to zero, it would still take 5 cycles for debt to be eliminated. So this 15 billion surplus is pretty meaningless. Okay. Well, first things first, we have to fix this crime problem, don't we? So let's see. Alcohol abuse does get cut down by community policing, as does organized crime. Right? No, organized crime does not, but crime itself does. Makes the liberals like us, reduces crime, violent crime, racial tension, very important because we have so many ethnic minorities. We do not want race riots because it's really hard to get rid of. Improves liberalism membership, which isn't the best because it's already too high, and we kind of have to cater to them. It reduces unemployment slightly. And okay, so if you're unfamiliar again with the game, this little number is how many cycles it takes for a policy to take effect. So for example, crime is not actually going to reduce by whatever percentage here immediately. It's going to reduce procedurally over, you know, in this case 4 cycles, or in this case 8 cycles, and it improves local government, but it kills alcohol abuse, and alcohol abuse is making our state health service healthcare vouchers cost a lot more. It's killing our health as well, which again makes these things cost more. It's a feedback loop. And it increases crime, which increases the cost of prisons. So it looks like we just have to solve the crime problem, because that also decreases the GDP, tourism, which decreases the GDP, and the GDP can affect literally everything. I mean, I'm not kidding. Okay. So I think the first thing we have to do really is to increase. I mean, we have 15 billion to play with, and this is going to cost zero political power. I don't see why we don't just max this out. I mean, this costs what, an additional 1.5 billion? Makes the liberals like us a lot more. Again, important voting bloc. It will kill crime by double. It'll kill some degree of violent crime. It'll keep racial tensions suppressed. Liberalism membership goes up, but there are other ways to get to kind of fix that. Unemployment decreases by a little bit. This will probably end alcohol abuse. Increases local government. I think this is just good policy. Yep, let's use it. Alright, so $1.5 billion gone. Also, I'm going to try and eliminate the debt because I do not want to get the debt crisis, which is basically what happens when you have a giant debt and you're running a deficit. And that thing will pretty much end your economy. I mean, it ends campaigns. So, let's see if we can change their labor laws. Right now it's pro-union, which makes the socialists and the trade unionists like us. No surprise there. It decreases the working week, which also which itself decreases productivity, but it also does decrease the productivity. Trade unionist membership is getting propped up by this. So this is a good way to gain a lot of you know, it's a feedback loop of support, right? You know, increases trade unionist membership and socialist membership, and it gives you a lot of popularity there, but it is kind of killing our economy. Increases wages, but it's also propping up the doctor strike. Although surprisingly, it is decreasing the rail strike, but it is also killing our economy through corporate exodus. This is going the other way to pro-employer. Corporate exodus, rail strike. Yeah, rail strike will further get decreased. So this will basically just kill the strikes, which is, and the corporate exodus, which is a good thing. Wages will go down, which will piss people off. This will piss off the socialists, and trade unionists. It'll make people work a lot more. It'll increase productivity, increase the capitalists, but it'll also, you know, kind of like decrease the socialist and the trade unionist membership, which is honestly probably too high given what I'm going to try and do. So I'm probably going the entire way with this. This will cost 20 on my 23 political power, but yeah, we're gonna do that. So I have 3 remaining. This will get cycled every turn, which is actually just a good time to look at the cabinet. What does the cabinet think? Alright, foreign policy, patriot and capitalist. Okay, this guy I'm gonna like. Welfare, environmentalists and ethnic minorities. This guy's gonna kill me. Economy, farmers and liberal. Oh, yeah, we can work with that. Tax, trade unions and oh jeez. Oh jeez, our tax advisor is a socialist. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, they're gonna get fired. Um, self-employed, youth. Uh, I don't see the loyalty here decreasing too quickly. This person's gonna hate us really quickly. Oh, law and order. You have the environmentalist, commuter. Well, I'm gonna piss off the environmentalists. So, and then you've transferred the motorists and the conservatives. Okay, so we have some people who are sympathetic, some people who are not. Unfortunately, the tax person is the person who's giving us the most political capital per turn right now. But you know, it is what it is. And that will shift. Okay, so can we do anything with free political power? Keeping in mind that we've already. Well, I mean, we need to improve the economy because everything goes back to the economy, doesn't it? Oh yeah, and also there are some new policies here because of adding to the mods, so things like neutrality, EU payments, EU grants, etc. Okay, alcohol awareness campaign. I mean, that could help with the alcohol problem. Doesn't cost too much. But then again, we're already kind of solving that. Let's see. Economy, business startup campaign. Oh, that National Business Council. Okay, these things will help. City farms, that'll help. No, this is gonna kill productivity. Trade council, you know, not something that we need immediately. Okay, we can do health food subsidies. I think our health is pretty good. So look at health. Yeah, our health is decent. So I don't think that'll be necessary. Not yet, anyway. Healthy eating campaign. This is. Uh, uh, I believe all this does is it increases like the youth opinions of us, which is not too bad right now. And also the youth is always only going to take up a certain percentage of the electorate, so you know, I'll probably just put this in at some point because it doesn't cost too much, but I don't think that's the main problem. Social Justice Foundation, yeah, no. Uh, free parenting classes, corporation, no, corporatism laws. Maybe I'm trying to kind of play this to my own liking. Otherwise, I just continue, you know, kind of like the cycle of socialist support. So I'm probably not gonna do that. Homosexuality. We don't have to touch that really. State religion, yeah, there's not going to be state religion. National Armed Forces Week, Witness Protection Program. Now, this is really good for patriotism, which I'll probably actually need. Uh, Telecommuting initiative. If traffic ever becomes a problem, this is your go-to solution, but it does cost a bunch of money. Cycling campaign, less effective version. Carpooling campaign, uh, it's kind of similar, I guess. Bicycle subsidies, you know, like these are all kind of like the same thing. But I think the first thing we're going to do is we are going to set up a, how's second, economy. How much does this cost? Okay, they all cost 2. That's annoying. We can have a tourism ad campaign. I guess that'll help the economy. But there are better things. Yeah, there's nothing I can act 1. Except corporatism, but, you know, let's not do that. Sure, yeah, national. No, actually, I'm gonna fix the economy first. Business startup campaign doesn't cost too much. So we're gonna increase it all the way to the max. Increase membership of so again, this is another feedback loop. Increases the membership of the self-employed, but it also increases their opinion of us. Decreases socialism membership, which is good because they're gonna get pissed off at me really quickly. Increases capitalists. Yep, let's do it. And we only have 1 left. I do not think we can do anything at all that I kind of want to do. Okay, Fortnite. Nope. For controls. Again, I think this is probably because this mod was made in 2016 for the controls. Well, our military spending is pitiful. And it's me making the Patriots hate us. I mean, their membership is not high, but it will turn high soon. Huh. D cards, yeah, and I don't think there's much I can do for 1. High bracket income tax, which is okay. So they're getting an additional 15%. I'm assuming this is per bracket. Yeah, that's rough, but it does give us solid amount of money. High earnings, wealthy, capitalists hate us. Private schools. I mean, our GDP is already terrible. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix the economy. Good lord. Alright, there's only 1 left. Next turn. Each turn simulates 3 months, so 4 turns is a year. I'll probably do this on a year by year basis. Alright, and so these are basically policy questions, if you're not playing them, where, you know, occasionally every first or second turn, they give you a question, and and depending on your choice, it does affect in-game modifiers, but it doesn't, unlike the policies you saw before, it doesn't tell you what those effects are going to be. So let's have a look at custody over children. With increasing divorce rates, we need to decide the principles for custody of children in those cases where both president's parents are suitable but cannot agree with each other. So custody. Okay, so this is basically asking, oh, should we have joint custody where you know the child is shared, and then we have the single custody where the child just stays with one parent. I mean, this is really a moral question, but it's probably beneficial. I mean, we can look at this from the game standpoint. The game standpoint is that, you know, the liberals just prefer it, right? And the liberals are a major voting bloc, etc. But also just kind of, you know, by own opinion, it is probably better if the child gets to see both parents. It just makes more sense rather than having single custody, and probably makes custody battles a lot less brutal. And I do not believe in the argument that children will perform better at school if they stay with the same parent. I mean, if there are 2 parents, I mean, in single parent households are traditionally, like, they're traditionally just terrible. So, yeah, I'm gonna go joint custody. This is pretty obvious. Okay, good news. The global economy is doing well. This is having a positive effect on our GDP. Well, I mean, not that much apparently, because our GDP is still crap. Our budget surplus is still pathetic. 43%, doesn't matter, we have tons of time to fix that. The Church of Christ has been expressing dismay at government policies. You mean they weren't before? They're loyal, their effectiveness is generally considered passable, poverty is increased. Okay. Let's see if we're fixing the alcohol problem enough. Yeah, as you can see, it's taking time for the community policing to actually, like fix this. And these issues, like, they don't only affect these, they also give you like a base cost, and this is costing us 7.6 billion, which isn't good because we already have a massive debt. So we just solve this. So it might be advisable just to clamp down on quick. Alcohol consumption is actually kind of low, which makes it weird that there's alcohol abuse, especially since it's the biggest contributing factor. I mean, there's unemployment, which is just tied to the economy. I mean, there are a million and one causes for that, and this is costing us ridiculous amounts of money and causing racial tension, which again, if this gets too high, it leads to race riots. And I guess this goes back to one of the gripes of the game, because they don't actually tell you if you're close to. So if you look at one of these like issues, right? There's a start trigger and a stop trigger. You'll notice the start trigger is far higher than the stop trigger. But when it's below the start trigger and it hasn't triggered, they don't actually tell you where you are on this. So you could accidentally just go slightly over the start trigger, and then you have to go way down to stop it. And you simply don't know whether whether there's an issue, which is kind of annoying. Productivity did go up due to labor laws change, which is increasing our GDP, which is great, and killing the uncompetitive economy. The uncompetitive economy is probably gone in. I mean, if this dropped 1, 2, 3, I mean, by the end of the year, like, this is gone. The corporate tax. Corporate taxation. I mean, how much are we making it? We're making 300. So that's like what? Yes, so that's like 10% of our income. I'm gonna leave it be for now, because I don't know. Let's look at corporate exodus. Yeah, it's gonna start coming down, but even after the entire 4 cycles, it's still only gonna go down by about 28%. Corporation tax alone is making it go up by about 34%. 33% rather. Work safety law 16%. And this is just killing our GDP. I mean, this is a flat minus 25% to our GDP. I mean, that's brutal. Because everything goes back to this. I mean, this is probably one of the most. The GDP and this is probably one of the most important. Are the two most important figures that you have to keep track of. How are the strikes doing? Okay, the strike's gonna be gone by next turn. Well, the real strike is, where's the other strike? I believe we only have 2 strikes right now. Yeah, that's gonna be gone by next turn, probably. Which will help with health. Which will help with productivity. Again, this is a flat decrease. So, it's a decrease of just 5.44% of productivity, which that's going to rocket up our productivity because it goes from 0 to 100. Consumption, alcohol abuse. Unemployment's decreasing the doctors. So unemployment is decreasing the strikes because you can't strike if you're not working, which is pretty glorious. But it is increasing civil rights protests, and civil rights protests increase violent crime. But violent crime is pretty low right now, so that's probably not an issue. Education is still very high. Okay, let's look at expenditure and let's start cutting. Okay, state pensions. Too much political power, but that's gonna get cut. Unemployment benefit. Good lord. Spending $14 billion. Okay, it increases unemployment, but does reduce poverty, increases poor earnings, which increases poor earnings, which increases the opinion of the poor, and also just gives a flat increase in the poor. But it is also increasing unemployment, and you just saw how terrible unemployment is. So I think I'm probably gonna cut this. I mean, it's just costing us too much money. Unemployment benefit is costing us more money than road building. It's pretty nuts. And then there's the debt interest, and this is why you don't want the debt to be there forever, because this is just going to keep increasing. And if the global economy, so the teal thing, if this thing goes down, then the interest rate is going to skyrocket. That is getting paid off for fraud department, high bracket, tobacco, alcohol. That might actually fix the problem, because alcohol tax reduces equality, but kills alcohol consumption pretty quickly. Poverty increases, the poor hate us a little bit more. Decreases equality, which leads to crime. And the socialists disliking us, but they're not going to like us particularly much anyway, so I guess that's not too big of an issue. I mean, just Swedish culture gives a 10% increase to socialist membership. Oh, that's gonna be a pain in the ass. I might want to work on decreasing just this. Like, state pensions have to go down. I mean, yeah, it increases socialism retired membership, and it makes the retired love us. Reduces poverty, sure. But it's costing us an obscene amount of money. Money that can be used to better the economy. I think we're just gonna pass a lot of those. Is this? Yeah, no, that's not happening. So this is basically, we're gonna pay other countries in the EU. We're gonna support the Mediterranean, basically. We cannot afford that at all. This is also part of the mod, so I have no idea what this does. Import tariffs. Yeah, but that's gonna kill the economy. Age purge? The old people need to go first. We can reduce their cost to society. Their cost to society. Error. By setting an upper age limit for pensions and welfare. Sorry, Gramps. You're now 75. We're gonna have to cut you off from medical care. We're going to criminalize old age and dispose of this this is a new policy. That's this is a policy from the mod. It's funny, but we're not gonna set that up. Retirement age. No. Yeah, you want to see something that we're never gonna do? Okay. Yeah, that we're not gonna do. Let's start killing socialist support while improving our economy. It's a young entrepreneurship scheme. This doesn't cost a lot. I mean, it costs about 300 million. Then that's nothing. It's gonna increase capitalist opinion. It's gonna increase youth opinion. Most importantly, it's gonna decrease socialist membership. I mean, yeah. This is just good policy. National Palace, yeah. No, I'm not Mr. Kim. There's mail tax. Good lord. Enterprise investment scheme. Cost a bunch. It does cost a bunch. I don't think I can afford that much. Not right now. Not right now, at least. And taxes, I mean, we don't have a tax evasion problem. But are we going to develop it? That's the question. Or are we going to have a tax evasion problem? It's 41%. Yeah, we have a lot of taxes. Sales tax. 25%? Okay, so that increases poverty. Self-employed capitalists obviously hate us because, you know, people aren't buying their stuff. Kills equality. Poor and middle earnings go down, tourism goes down. I mean, this just isn't good. And I mean, I kind of get the argument based off of like a tax not based off income but based off of consumption. But this just seems to, but this just decreases consumption. This is just decreased consumption. I mean, you can make the, you know, how morally fair the morally fair argument, but realistically speaking, it just grinds business to a halt unless you get rid of the other taxes. It is bringing us in a lot of money, but this is probably going to start. That might cause tax evasion. Yeah, corporation tax, mortgage tax relief, tobacco tax. Good lord, there's a lot of taxes. Micro generation, high energy efficiency. That does increase the GDP. Okay, we're not gonna touch that then. Youth work initiative. Increases youth income, which also increases the opinion of the youth, and there's also a flat increase in the opinion of youth. Decreases unemployment, increases productivity, makes the capitalists like us more. How much does this cost? Oh, jeez. But unemployment is very high. And that might be the way to solve it. I mean, there's also the senior work initiative. Decreases the membership of the retired. Decreases the membership of the retired. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. because that makes it easier to cut pensions. Increases private pensions, not a problem. Increases productivity, increases capitalism. Oh, no, increases capitalist opinion. Private pensions, and yeah, that's good because, more people in the workforce, it's just better, really. Cuts down middle earnings, equality, retired. Increases retired income. Currency strength. Yeah, for the krona. GDP is killing it. Payroll taxes increasing it. It's making international trade and tourism go up. High earnings go down. Oil price goes up, but wages go down. And oil price, is that the price we're paying? No, this is just global. Helps the GDP. The motorists, there's more money in their pockets, right? Like the motorists consume oil, so their income goes up, which makes them like us more, increases their membership, because more people want to drive cars. Flat increase in their opinion of us. An increase in food prices? What? How does the oil price affect the food price? Okay. Yeah, and as you can see, poor, middle income, wealthy, children. What is killing the membership of the capitalists? See, they're no longer fanatically opposed, they're just aggressively opposed. Oh, Swedish culture just minus 10%. Yeah, that's rough. Basically state services, okay. Oh, capital gain. Yeah, capital gains is going to. Again, capital gains is one of the best ways to get tax evasion. Surprise, surprise, bankers don't like to pay money. Or in taxes. Why do they hate us so much? Because corporation taxes, because taxes. TLDR. And the state. Oh, rent controls. Decreases poverty, increases opinion of the socialists. But decreases opinion of capitalists, decreases their income, which feedback loop. Private housing gets decreased. Earnings go up, high earnings go down. Private housing is massively increasing our mortgage tax relief cost by 55%. You see, I have a kind of mixed feeling about rent controls. Because rent controls, yeah, like rents can get completely ridiculous. I mean, you especially see that in cities. I mean, look at San Francisco. But it also does kind of, unless they're ridiculously high, I don't think they're really necessary. Just less government control in the economy. I think we're just going to nuke alcohol consumption. I mean, it does take ages for this to take effect. But we'll cut it by 10% for nothing at all. Yeah. And besides, it's probably a better thing that people don't drink as much. you know, Inca for Inca for health. Inca home. Again, another gripe I have with this game is that it doesn't tell you what it actually does. Yeah, sure, it's popular, but what does that affect? I mean, this doesn't cost too much. It takes forever, but it does give a flat, like, 2.75% increase to GDP, decreases membership of socialism. Capitalists like us more. Crime. Now, something this doesn't mention is that it also decreases the chance that you get just assassinated. Now, don't get me wrong, I am no fan of increasing the intelligence services in real life, because spying on your own citizens isn't exactly the best thing. But given the issue of organized crime, you know, like the alternative is like something like wiretapping, which is way worse. Give on-demand abortion. Okay. Yeah, the religious aren't gonna like us. I think we have to fix the economy first. And we have to do that by killing the strikes. I mean, we could just make a military-industrial complex. It is an option. Very attractive one, actually. Especially since, you know, our military is already absolutely awful. And it will reduce unemployment. Make the Patriots like us much more. It'll cost a ton, though. And again, the economy. I think we're just going to focus on the economy. I think that's really the best way out. We can increase trade. We look at productivity. Kills the uncompetitive economy. Helps the GDP. And there's no, you know, you don't have to wait. Productivity and GDP, it goes hand in hand. So 4 cycles, I can basically double. I can basically increase productivity by another 2.6%. Reduce retired membership, which will make it easier to cut pensions. Cost a lot of money. But it'll help the economy enough that I think it's worth it. Same thing here. And besides, going back to real politics, I actually kind of agree with this. Is getting people to get experience in the workplace faster and just increasing how many people have the ability to work is just good for the economy, especially among like veterans of the industry as seen through the seniors, and the relatively inexperienced with the youth. Crushes unemployment, increases productivity. Again, expensive, but worth it. Now that does mean we're probably going to be running a deficit by next turn. What I really need to do is cut welfare, because military spending, science funding, road building, like actual important stuff, are behind all of this. I mean, state schools, you could argue, state schools and state health service, yeah, sure, they're important. But when unemployment benefit trumps this much, I mean, like, this has to be cut. And it will be next turn. Yeah, we're not spending much on border controls, not a surprise. Alcohol abuse is costing us 2.6% of our entire budget. I mean, like, we have to kill this. Quick. Let's see if there are new policies. I mean, yeah, like, this is good, but it's long term. I mean, how's our tourism? Tourism doesn't increase our GDP massively. Decreases Patriot membership, but not by much. Increases foreign subversion. Releases civil rights protests. Which isn't great, but it's a low-cost way to get a lot of tourism and good foreign relations very quickly. And tourism's not bad. I mean, it just means people from other countries are coming to your country to spend their money. So, I mean, yeah, I think that's just good policy. And I think I'll save my political capital. I do have a maximum of 46. So yeah, I'll just save it for next turn so that I can start cutting welfare. Freedom of information. Do we even have to argue about that? Dude, if you're collecting information about people, they should at least know about it. Unemployment is going down, GDP is going up. It's great. And we still have a surplus. Even though we enacted policies that would lead us to a deficit. Brilliant. Youth are liking us more. Liberals are liking us more. Socialist membership is slowly going down. I'll emphasize slowly. Capitalist sentiment isn't, it went from 0 to, it went from fanatically opposed to moderately opposed. And membership is increasing. That's good. It's killing the GDP. Remember that these are all flat increases. And if the GDP is good, basically issues just kind of start solving themselves. Corporate exodus is finally Competitive economy's gonna be gone. Alright, it's time to kill welfare. Yes! I can finally kill welfare. So I can stop this socialism loop. I can actually cancel it. If I can just like turn it into nothing. How much will that save? Nearly 30 billion. Yeah. There you go. Next turn. Stress epidemic. Health is going down. Unemployment is going down. GDP is going up. Poverty is going up. But we have a see, we started with like, what, 15 billion surplus? I believe this is turn 3? Or 4. One year. We're up to 50 billion. That's good. And you can see like the economy is just bumping up. Yeah, it turns out people like being, you know, not horrifically poor. Membership of the poor stagnant. But yeah, like the GDP, if you look at this, it just makes everybody like everything better. And if you look at like the income, it's just, you know, it just boosts everything. Which is why this is so bad. Oh, it's still ticking down way too slowly. It's because of our alcohol consumption levels. I mean, I could just nuke it. Go alcohol law and say, well, it's already minimum age of 21. I mean, it would fix crime, but I don't want to do that. Poverty, unemployment, and GDP are all increasing this. Now I could just kill them for the alcohol tax. Increase poverty, like it's gonna be terrible, but it will kill alcohol consumption. Like, guys, stop drinking. Good lord. Is that too much to ask? This is actually glorious. Yeah, government subsidies, unfortunately, it does not give you the opportunity to simply subvert them, which would help me a lot. I am not doing that. It helped technology, and we could get a technological surplus. Cost a bunch of money. But we go full on. Lots of patriots, they're gonna like us. Unemployment goes down, state employees go like us more. Remember, this is a feedback loop, right? So more patriots who like us more. Technology goes up. Membership of religious go down. I don't really care. Strong leader. And also, let's be honest, having a space program is just a good thing. Realistically speaking, I mean, it just it does, like, it boosts kind of like the, I guess you could almost call it like the national consciousness. But it's also, you know, it prevents social division, which should be represented here, because, you know, there's a shared goal. I mean, look at what happened in the 60s, right? There's a shared goal to get to the moon. It should be represented here. I think it's a good policy, both in-game and out. So, yeah, it's going to cost us a bunch, but it's going to pay for itself. How about the strikes? Why is it going up? Shouldn't be going up. This, same thing. Why is it going up? Because there are lots of trade unions. Private health care kills it. We're going to reduce the state health service. Basically, these are like public sector strikes, which is wasting me a bunch of money, and it's just killing things like health, which are, you know, very important because of productivity, and also people, you know, people dying. And well, I also have zero political power, so I can't actually do anything except impose a state religion, which I'm not going to do. Turn. Civil rights protests now and then. Debt protection law. Right, so this is kind of controversial in that, sure, yeah, they have debt, but you have these agencies who are, you know, basically using every means possible to, like, there are cases where they're like almost death threats, and you know, threats towards the employers because you have debt, and the debt just gets passed around. So yeah, it isn't really fair, but then on the other hand, you also did borrow that money. So you also did borrow that money. They're not just gonna, you know, you do have to pay back that debt occasionally. And you know, we don't want to set a precedent that, oh, that's not to be repaid, both for things like public and, you know, like private. Right? Yeah, nobody forces people to borrow money they can't repay. I'm gonna allow the agencies to operate because, you know, it does make debt more severe, right? It makes people understand the severity of debt, which is, you know, also a good thing when it comes to things like the public sector, because people realize, yeah, but that's going to put us in debt, and that's, you know, and people will realize that, people will better understand that that's not a good thing. These agencies are really fucking sketchy, but ultimately speaking, like, I wish there were options, but if given the dichotomous choice, I will allow these agencies to operate. Budget is in good shape. Civil rights protests now and unemployment is still going down. We have 61%. The Human Rights Society does not like us. But yeah, the cabinet's starting to not like us. Yeah, lumps. Do you ever increase military spending? This directly impacts productivity. You know, there's no inertia, right? Which directly impacts GDP. And this can reduce unemployment immediately. And our military is, I mean, the Swedish military is is absolutely pathetic. We can pay for it now. I mean, we're no longer operating off of like less than 20 billion in surplus. Our economy is doing pretty well. This will only make it better. Employees will like us more. It will increase their membership, increase their income a bit, which helps wages, etc. And again, feedback loop. Patriots will love us. Strong leader. Yep, overwhelming force. It's cheap. Not in terms of money, but in terms of political power. Okay, the strikes are getting stagnant. Okay, how do we get rid of these? We do now have the money to just turn ourselves into like a technological powerhouse, which will increase things like productivity because, you know, we have better technology which multiplies productivity. and could circumvent like the unemployment problem. You know, this is something we can do. Same thing with enterprise. Okay, so that's 7, but that's 10. But this takes a long time to kick in. Yeah, I don't care about this, but yeah, it does take 8 cycles to kick in. GDP even longer. Technology as well. Reduces unemployment, which also impacts the GDP and productivity. Will cost us a bunch. But we now have the resources to actually do this. Effects, implementation time. Yeah, we're gonna do that. And we're gonna increase patriotism. Now this could lead to race riots, especially since we have so many ethnic minorities. But yeah, I don't have a problem with increasing like just patriotism in the country. You know, we now have a space program. We have the National Armed Forces Week. You know, just massively increased military spending, which will help with the. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Shut up. Which will help us with like the strong leader mentality, especially since it's so low right now. I think I've done all I can do. And that's the first year, folks. So, you know, recap, GDP gone way up, unemployment gone way down, health it's kinda stagnant, it's gone up and down. Crime is very low, education remains pretty high, poverty, you know, still middling. We are now going to get 62% of the vote instead of like what 47%. Our budget surplus increased by like what 300%. Human Rights Society doesn't like us, cabinet doesn't like us, but our economy is doing well. That's the first year, folks.